everyone, this is RileySkye once again, and I'm finally going to take apart this N64, clean it and restore it and get it working. And I wanted to do this much sooner than now because I had problems coming across certain tool, which was this thing. Now, you wouldn't believe the hell I went through just to find even one can of compressed air spray, let alone a pack of 4 that I got on eBay. I mean, it was a friggin' nightmare. I never went through so much trouble getting a can of compressed air spray because of like the area I'm living in. Maybe it's like a dry county, but kind of like this. So, with that out of the way, let's get to this. Okay, the first thing we're going to start off with taking this thing apart is by taking this off and this off. And now when we look here, there are 6 screws to take out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you cannot take these out with the normal Phillips head screwdriver or flathead. This requires a special screwdriver called a game bit. This right here. You cannot get this in hardware stores. If you can, it's really hard to come by in hardware stores. You're better off buying these online, particularly eBay, which sells for like $3 to $6 with the game bits. Now, when you buy this, there are 2 game bits that comes with it. The bits that goes here, there are 2 kinds of it. There's the 3.8 millimeters for the cartridges, and there's a 4.5 millimeters, which is for the console in this case. Like so. And you stick it on like magnets. So what you want to do is take out these 6 screws and we'll go from there. Okay, so once you got those screws off, remember these are the 2 screws that came apart from these. Like, the lid should come off like so. And as you can see, we got much screws to take apart, and it's pretty dusty from like years of like being unused or something like that, or not being treated enough. You can see that dust pretty evidently. And what we have here is the back of the lid, and we're going to take these apart so we can clean the dust protecting lid. God, I am not really speaking up today. So what you're going to do is take your Phillips head screwdriver, like something I got here, and you're going to take these 2 off, and that will remove this thing. Remove this thing and take the 2 plastic lids off right here. Okay, so once you've gotten that, you should be getting this. Now, here's an interesting thing. If you have a Dremlin kit or like a driller or something sorts, you can take these 2 things out, and with that you'll be able to play Japanese N64 cartridges. It won't work with PAL games as far as I'm aware of, because I haven't even tried it yet. So if you're interested in making this like both a US and Japanese console, knock yourself out. For the sake of this, I will leave it alone for such. You can see like some dirt there, and once you got like the plastics like separating air, you can go ahead and wash them up with soap and water and some sorts. And along came with these 2, and you might be rolling your eyes when you see springs, but don't worry, these springs are not hard to get back on. They're fairly easy, and they only fit in one way. So just clean them up with soap and water real good. And as for the buttons, you just push on this like so for your reset button, and the power button just pushes out like so. Ain't that pretty? Alright, so once you got this top lid open, you can go ahead and wash it with soap and water and just leave it out to dry on its own. And as for this, we're going to take apart this. There's not too many screws, but we want to get those screws out of the way. And so you'll notice a screw right here, 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 here. Listen to me. Here, 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 here. These four right here. That one right there you don't want to miss. There's these screws right here, those small screws, that screw, and this screw. I sound like a broken record. Alright, so what you want to do is like, don't like take them off like randomly. Get them off in the area that you know you're going to remember them at. So just go ahead and take off what screws you can. Okay, I got that settled, and it's not as bad as it seems. Like, for example, like this kind of screw right here goes for these 10 slots right there, and this kind of screw goes on this, and this. And these there's two long screws of this that goes right here where the cartridge port is, and these two with like the springy things. I don't know how better you can see that camera goes about right here and here, and these two small black screws goes here and here. Remember that for reference. And you got these two small, fairly long screws that goes where the expansion port is, and you got this one screw that goes right here, and you got these four gray silver screws that goes where the cords would go. So just remember where each of them goes, and you won't lose your way, though it's not hard to lose it. So with that, we will take this off, and you can now go ahead and put that aside, wash it with soap and water, and let it dry. And next thing will be, I think, for like to take, yeah, it's been quite a while. Yeah, to take this part out as well. Go ahead with soap and water. Remember where this goes afterwards. We're gonna take these pieces out. Yeah, it's like small pieces that Nintendo always likes to make complicated. You can remember where this goes. Same thing with those melt things and this as well. So with that, you will be able to take this off, and of course this piece will fall. And take out this like a power light and such, and also take out these two pieces right here and set those aside. They can only go in one way, so, and after you got this one, go ahead and clean that the same way. And right here we have the motherboard, well, shielded, but let's get that fixed up. So we'll take this off, take this shield off, same thing, yada yada, and we're going to take this piece off. So not too bad, but we want to clean it up. And right here we have the motherboard of the Nintendo 64. It's actually much smaller than it would appear to be, especially for my hands. So what we're going to do from here is do a bit of like a dusting of some sorts. So hold on, you're going to take a can of compressed air spray and just spray some excess dust off and such, just so you can get to polishing what you need and what you don't need to polish. Yeah, but it's not so bad. It's just like with the power on and off button, which will obviously always have like dust sticking onto it for some reason. Maybe it's because there's like this sticky residue, but I don't feel it. Okay, so what we're going to do from here is we're going to clean the cartridge slot. And normally you would have, like, it would come with a cartridge cleaning kit to do such, but Since those are rare and hard to find, sorry, since the cartridge cleaning kit are so rare and hard to find, the next best thing you could do is what is called the credit card method. Basically what you do is take a credit card or any plastic card like this for such, so I don't go to Kmart much anymore, so it doesn't really matter what card I use, and you take a piece of felt cloth, wrap it around, use Windex, and just go in there up and down, and yes, that's what she said, so you can get as much dust out of there as you can, and spray it out with the excess of compressed air spray and such, and just keep going from there. And if you feel the need to clean out this expansion port right here, knock yourself out. But as for this, unless you have the 64D disk drive, it doesn't really need to be cleaned at all. So yeah, go ahead and clean out those connections and go from there. Okay, so off camera, while I was doing the restoration and such, I went ahead and cleaned all the plastic and metals for them to dry, and they look much better. Remember the dust there? Well, it's there. Look at that. Look at that shine. Yeah. Yeah, so what you want to do is like leave them to dry on its own, and if you could use a paper towel or such to wipe them off, but I like them to dry on their own time. And make sure there's not like excess like soap or anything like that on them, just so they can look much better. So yeah, once you get those washed up, let them dry and we'll go from there. Okay, so I got the cartridge slot cleaned as much as I could, and I found a few strain of hairs. Yeah, kind of disgusting. I don't know how hair would get into the cartridge slot, but yeah, I got that cleaned out anyway. So as you can see, like from the previous clip I showed, the plastic and metals are still drying, and you don't want to put it back together while they're still wet, because it could damage the motherboard. And so yeah, just wait for them to dry completely, and then we can be able to put it back together, and I'll see you then when that happens. Okay, so once you've gotten the cartridge slots cleaned up and the expansion slot as well, and all the parts of the metal and plastic are dry, we're gonna put this back together. First off, we'll be starting with these two parts. Remember, they go in one way, so that should be easy enough to remember. Okay, so for this part, we're going to put the metal shieldings back together. Take a bit of time, so like so. And we're going to take this piece and put it back where it fits. Hold on a second. And oh, don't forget this piece that goes with the lighting here. Last time I was cleaning up the same console, I forgot to put that light in when I realized I forgot to put it in, so I had to take it apart again. Stupid me, but okay, so just like that. And next thing we're going to do is put these pieces back into where they go, and it's a bit complicated at first because you just need to get them in the right way. I believe it was like so. Yeah, sorry if I'm not talking too much. This is the first time I'm actually demonstrating something. Wait, I think no. Yes. Wait. No. So, yeah, just to make sure it's in the right position. Yep. Like so. And probably the toughest part here is putting all the screws back where they originate. And remember, this slides in like so. Alright, so remember like previously where all your screws go, and make sure they fit, and you don't want to put them like in the wrong holes. Like here, this one had no screw, This one on the right side did. So yeah, once you get all those screws back in, we'll go from there. Okay, so once that's done, all these screws should be back on the motherboard just like that, and actually looks a lot much better than I did when I first took it apart. But we're not going to put the top lid on yet because we're going to put this back together. First off, starting with these pieces, and I mentioned that they only go in one way, so you don't have to worry about the springs as such. Just like so. And yeah, they could pop out a bit at times, but as long as you can get this piece in a position, you're fine. So this goes like so, if I remember correctly. Yes, it does. Okay, so what you want to do is screw these two that you got off from it back in there. And you want to put the buttons, the power reset button, the reset button into this here, and the switch power on off on this side. So go ahead and we'll put the lid back on. Okay, so once you got the pieces back on the lid and such, we're gonna put this thing back on like so. On off, and I did forget that light thing last time I did. I forgot, so I just take it apart again so I can put it back in. Silly me. And the next thing to do is to put all the 6 special screws that were taken off from here back in, as well as putting those 2 lids and the 2 circles in right over there back into these respective spots. So go ahead and we'll see what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so after doing so, this is what the N64 console should look like after you've successfully taken it apart, cleaned it, and restored it. And just to let you know, I have not tested a game on this. I've tested out the power to see if it worked, and it does work. I have no idea if it will play games as of yet. I looked at the motherboard and the circuits and such, and they all looked in pretty good shape, so this should work, but I'm not sure. But this next part is optional if you want to do it or not, but I want to give this a bit of a shine, if you get what I mean. And by that, I'm going to use something to make it work. I'm going to take this pledge, which is pretty much used for like shining on furniture and such, as long as it's not moisture for this part. So you want to take a paper towel and go over it a few times to give it that shine. And before you do that, you want to check the console for scuff marks and such to get rid of with something like Mr. Clean's magical eraser to get rid of the scuff marks and such. Again, I cannot fix that like scratch there. That's like in depth there, so I need like bit of like clay to fill it in or such, but I'm not gonna waste the time doing that. So yeah, once you just get like a paper towel, just go spray it, go over this a few times, and let it dry and let it shine. And I'll show you the results of when I use pledge afterwards. Okay, so this is what the console pretty much looks like, polished up from my viewpoint. So yeah, looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to put a jumper pack in this and power it up, see if ultimate question, if it works or not. If it does, I'll enjoy it. If it doesn't, then I'll try to somehow make it work. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna test out this console now. I have Jet Force Gemini plugged in, so let's give it a shot. And it works. My skills never cease to amaze me. Just want to see here. And there you have it. That's how I restore an N64 console.